Hey, you guys, it's me again. So, now that we've understood that the society in which we live requires us to dismiss our internal dispositions, to dismiss how our resources internally are corresponding or are communicating to us on a daily, because we want to fit in these different social norms that was predicated upon our lives as to how we need to show up versus how we really show up. Now, one thing I can say about mental illness, when you are getting diagnosed with mental illness, it's your ticket to freedom. I'll put it like that straight up. When you are being diagnosed with mental illness, what does it say? What does it say? This person has been diagnosed with a mental illness. She will probably go through a hoops of moods in a day. She will probably deal with her emotions totally differently than from the norm. She is probably less going to shapeshift pertaining to her external environment. So she is, people will say she's like a ticking bomb. Others would say she's just not fitting. She's just not fitting into the norm, right? But when you are accountable for these things, what happens next? You're free to become who you are. You're free to deal with actually what's going on internally. Now, there is a side note to add up in here, and it's to say that if you are, or if you've been medically diagnosed with a form of mental illness ranging from light to mild, okay? I'm not going to say the names because there's a variety of them. Put the shoe where it fits, okay? If it's your situation, or if you feel that you fit, that the message fits, okay? For those that are diagnosed with mental illness ranging from light to mild, and you are under medication, that medication is for you to stay in the norm. It's for you to still not deal with what's going on internally, because medication is going to do what? It's going to numb your emotion. It's going to numb certain mechanisms of responses, mentally, emotionally, hormonally. So um, you're going to be less responsive to certain triggers. You're going to be less moody. You're going to have this this norm of response, almost like nonchalant, almost like in denial. So you're not even dealing with them. So to those that have not chose medication, I'm telling you, you have a greater chance at dealing with your internal resources that are constantly communicating to you how it is that you need to attend to your mental resource, your emotional resource, your sexual resource, your psychological resource, your psychic resource. So it gives you the leeway for you to actually step into who you really are and not fit any norm, because we were never meant to fit a norm of how we deal with our external environment. Yes, we've been predicated for now over 2,000 years through the era of bondage on how to keep it tight, whether it's to a form of religion, form of dogma, form of belief, so that we can still fit the norm. And with modern medicine in the last 150 years, we have the aid of pharmaceutical medication in order to reinforce that normality. So we've seen that in the last hundreds of years, people to stay upkeep or to stay in the norm have been using medication in order to numb themselves. So they are creating chemical imbalances within their mental in order to stay in this norm. So are we really evolving as a species, or we are just being sedated by companies that are still making profit off of their sickness environment that they've created for us? Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that we should all be diagnosed mentally ill. I'm just trying to bring a perspective that can enlighten you as to your own way of dealing with your internal chatter, your internal processes, your internal resources, your internal communication. How do you deal with it? Are you still strongly attached to fitting the norms? Did you needed to wait on a form of diagnosis to free yourself and to actually start doing the work of getting acquainted with the internal chatter, the internal management of your resources? Or have you ran straight into medication so that you still don't have to deal with it, but you complain that you can't feel anymore? So that was the message that I have for you guys today. And I feel that, we need to start looking at the way we've been living, as yes, maybe part of the solution, but also part of, you know, a form of restructure or reform that we need to have at the individual level. Okay? If you're constantly trying to fit a role where you're no longer attached to your emotions, you don't even know, or you don't even have a recall of what it is to feel a certain emotion, or you're probably feeling like the emotion that you feel is despair, is depression, it's anxiety, it's stress. Don't look any further. That is your mental and that is your heart telling you that you need to take a mental break. Do not wait for the mental breakdown. Do not wait for the emotional breakdown to happen before you actually recognize that something is wrong with you. Now, I know there's a lot of awareness around mental health, but the only awareness that we can truly have is how we are living in a freaking dysfunctional way of living. We have these crazy lifestyles that we want to so much, integrate, and we tend to forget that we have our own internal compass, you know, there to guide us as to how we need to live and to live our best life. But because we've been programmed that it's actually our external environment that is our compass, we lose sight of our internal ones because we have so much attachments to this external false reality that literally makes us sick. It's like a refrigerator, okay? Imagine this, okay? A refrigerator has its own internal process of balancing their temperature right from the internal, right from the inside, right? And it is probably gonna have certain certain factors on the external as to how it needs to be regulated on the internal. But there is ultimately an internal process or an internal what's it called, an internal guidance as to how the fridge is gonna be optimized without you having to control it. Okay, so I feel like the same is applicable to humans. We have an internal compass that is regulated a certain way that is unique to the individual. And external reality is there to help us come back inside and regulate our temperature, our internal temperature. But we have been living in a world where we have this internal temperature that we are not regulating because we have been fed that this regulator is external of us. So we want to adjust to external regulators like we're just living backwards. We want to adjust, we want to control our internal temperature with external regulators, whether it's our spouse regulator, our children regulator, our boss, our job, our car, our lifestyle, our material possessions. We are controlled by different forms of attachments or regulators that have no um, that have no connection to our internal regulator, because heck, we're not even aware of it, of, or we just literally lose sight of it because we've been told that it's not even there, it's non-existent. So I'm here to tell you, your internal regulator is there. It's there to guide you. It's there to tell you how to deal with your internal resources. It's there to tell you how to fix your own temperature so that you can better adapt to external situations. But then you need to look within first. You need to attend to how, this mental space here is being, overly fed. You need to attend to this right here, where the internal chatter is you're not nurturing for yourself enough, you're not caring, you're not attentive to your own needs enough. And then there's this lower chatter over here as to how you want to be more creative. You have this voice that is telling you that I need to be more creative, yet you think it's about getting more money or buying another house. But it's probably just your creative energy that wants you to act, that wants you to act on your own creative compass, right? So I feel like everything has been done in a way that we are living externally rather than internally. We are being guided by external factors instead of being guided by our own internal compass. And it's going to create mental illnesses. It's going to create physical dissonance or dis-ease. It's going to create emotional burnouts. It's going to create absence of magic or absence of creative energies or absence of intuition, because we are constantly in this robotic way of thinking and doing and being. So I feel like this is all I have for you guys today. I don't know if you feel that it rung true to you or rung some form of truth. Leave a comment, right? Share it, like it. You know, um, I'm actually creating a course that's in French that speaks on these internal resources, that helps you grasp a greater awareness of what are those internal resources. What is that internal compass? How is it supposed to work? Right? So, yeah, it is what it is. On that note, you guys, take care of your mind, your heart, and your whole being. Until next time, take care. Peace.